The Good Talker. Value, spiritual gifts. "Who needs him? He's such a loser," Roger responded to his friend Stephen when the subject of Danny came up. "That's a pretty harsh thing to say about your brother," Stephen responded. Roger knew it was harsh. He thought back when he and Danny were kids. Danny, the older by a year and a half, was always the guy who could fix anything. Oh, how Mom and Dad bragged on Danny when he fixed the washing machine or the lawnmower or unclogged a drain in the kitchen. At first, Roger tried to learn to do what Danny did, but it never worked out. Finally, in high school, Roger found his gift, and like his own dad, it was the gift of gab. He won competition after competition in speech, debate, and other forms of speech giving. He seemed to have a natural ability to talk to people, give speeches, or just get people to see things his way or rally to his cause. It served him well as he moved into a sales career, whereas Danny built a very successful auto mechanics business around his skill. But sadly, for all the success the brothers had, their dislike for each other kept them apart. Danny never understood, but talking was a good skill, and Roger thought being able to tinker with machines or pipes or wires was a geeky way to be. They fought about it endlessly until Danny moved out. But holidays were always tense, except when they went to see Grandma. Everything stopped at Grandma's house because she saw them as her sweet baby boys, and for a while they visited her, they were sweet children again, innocent and always ready to play. Stephen left his friend Roger in his office thinking about his brother. Roger wondered if there ever would be a way to make things okay between them. He didn't know that over in his garage, while fixing a car, Danny was wondering the same thing. Roger's thoughts were broken by the phone ringing. He answered it. The sound of urgency in the voice was frightening. "Roger, the floods have reached Pilger," Stephen informed him. Pilger was not far from the large city where his family grew up. "The water is rising there and people are becoming trapped on the second floor. The Red Cross is going to try to get people out." At first, Roger didn't get too alarmed, but then he remembered. Pilger was where Grandma lived. He picked up the phones and called her, but no answer. He knew she lived alone in that big house and probably could not get to the phone. The thought of her alone facing that terror was more than he could stand. Moving almost on instinct, Roger got moving. He organized a rescue mission for the town of Pilger, using his huge network of contacts at church, work, his clubs, and his business contacts. Within hours, Roger had an army of men and machinery gathered in the parking lot of the church. They were ready to invade Pilger and save those people. "Folks," he announced to the crowd of rescuers from his bullhorn, "we need to pray. My grandma is down there, and you all have relatives there too. Let's pray that God helps them until we can get there." And then he bowed his head and led them in prayer. "Roger, we have another area to pray about," Steve shouted out. "Lots of these boats are broken. We need mechanical help, or getting all of us down there will be no good. We need someone who can fix anything." Roger felt his face go hot with emotion, because it was like God was telling him, "Get Danny." He had no time to wallow in self-pity or resentment at Danny. He picked up his cell phone and called his brother's number. All he had to say to Danny was, "Danny, it's Roger. Grandma's in danger. Get down here." And he knew Danny would fly to the scene. And that is what happened. Danny brought his tools and workers, and in no time they had the machines in tip-top shape. Side by side, the brothers loaded the boats, and together they got to Pilger and got every citizen out. As the brothers sat side by side on the boat heading to Grandma's house, they both suddenly knew why they were so different. Danny knew that he could have never gotten such a huge response and organized the rescue so beautifully. And Roger knew that Danny's gift for fixing things was crucial to their success. As they got Grandma into the boat, she hugged them both and kissed them, and then she said what they both were thinking. God has given each of you boys a wonderful spiritual gift. Working together, you are a powerful tool for Him. They knew it was right, because that is how God blesses the church. By giving everyone unique and wonderful gifts, we all can work together to do what God has for us to do. Separate, we are incomplete, but together, we are powerful tools for God to use for good.